Well, Harris, you've brought a lot of supplies here, and we've just got so much to talk about. So I understand we've got some potting soil there and some garden soil. Could we kind of start off with comparing the two?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you.
And when you called me about 3 weeks ago, I said, you know, this is going to be a great opportunity. So I took time out and started visiting the local garden centers to find out exactly what's going on. You know, you can sometimes think you know, but when you actually take time to examine closely, you see some things, you say, wow, I didn't know that. So this was a fun project. I got my grandkids involved.
Wonderful.
And we had so much fun. So let's get started.
Let's get started,
All
Harris.
right.
Thank you.
So when you visit your local garden center, first of all, you need to determine what you're going to grow.
Exactly. Seeds,
Right?
maybe some bedding plants.
Right.
Maybe some shrubs.
Right. So you need to know that. Do a little research. And so the first example I have here of potting mix, I'll just pour a little bit here out. And it's got a lot of organic matter, minerals, organic matter. Of course, you want to make sure the air is in your soil, and it's very light. And it's really for, its potting mix is more sterile, and especially for seedlings. And you're starting something with seeds or small seedling plants. And so you'll start reading the back. The main thing I can tell you is read the labels.
Yes. Oh, amen.
You go in the stores and they have all these different bags and they look so beautiful. They spend a lot of time with the advertising on the bags.
Yes, they do.
So don't get fooled. Don't get fooled by the beauty of the bag. Look at the back of the bag and examine exactly what minerals and nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And so that's important. So this right here is the potting mix. As you can see, as the camera's on it, it's got some perlite mixed in it. Perlite is something I have over here. It's actually mixed in with bedding. You get what they call pro mix, and it helps the aeration. Again, I said minerals. You got to have the organic matter, the water, and you have to have air. So perlite is generally mixed into a lot of different soils. I'll just give you some. And it's actually a inorganic matter, perlite, but it helps with the air circulation and it helps with starting new plants. Now, again, decide first of all what you're going to grow. I come from a background from South Carolina, and it was all about the dirt, and it was all about the horse stable.
Well, what was the dirt like down there?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a playground for me.
I bet.
My grandfather had a horse named Bird, and all we did, he said, all right, it's time to get some of that horse manure. So all I knew was go out there and get that horse manure and put it out in the ground, he'd till it in. So I didn't really have the understanding that I have now about the different soils. So read the label, study, figure out exactly what you want. Now, we talked about a little potting soil right here. I have some garden soil, which is not as sterile as the potting mix. It's very valuable organic matter, and that's used a lot. But at the same time, it's important, again, to decide what you're going to grow and where you're going to grow it, inside or outside.
Well, would you put garden soil in your plants on the inside?
I would use the potting mix. Now, that's what I would do.
Yes, because it's sterile.
It's sterile, yes.
We don't want to bring in all those.
That's exactly right. And so there's so many varieties. Again, moving along, here we have the koi.
And what is that?
That's part of coconut fiber. Now, let me just say this right here before we go any further. I am not a soil scientist.
No, but you're a grower and a horticulturalist, sir.
I just love the outdoors. I want everybody to know that. I love the outdoors. I love to get my hands out there and play and see what's going on. So I began, this was an educational part for me because a lot of times at the school, we got what they call pro mix.
Right.
So everything was all ready. So you really didn't have to do a lot of research because it was all packaged. So anyway, koi is another garden product. Just keep that in mind, C-O-I-R, koi. Again, my job was to just go to the garden centers and see what was available. and it's so much available. The next product I have here is pine bark mulch. I will just take a little bit of this right here.
What's the benefits of pine bark mulch?
You know, now I believe, now, again, I'm not a soil scientist, but acid-loving plants.
Yes?
Right. Now, again, study. Google is so amazing.
Isn't it?
I'm telling you, it's taking out a lot of the hard work out. They just Google, 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 and you can come up with some answers. So, but be mindful of all the products that are out here. There's so many. So, and you can get confused and you can get caught up with,
Yes.
like I said, the beauty of the bags and all the fancy lettering and everything. You're like, what is really going on? So I'm just introducing some of the things that I saw at the garden centers. So we have the pine bark. We already talked about perlite. Then you have vermiculite. And generally, that's mixed in with your Pro Mix as a sterile agent, and it helps with the seedlings and small seeds.
Because it's a great water absorber.
It does. It
water.
does. So this is perlite right here. Actually, you can grow plants in vermiculite by itself.
Yes, you can. Yes, it's a great place to start cuttings.
And if you want to learn more, again, it's vermiculite, and I have here perlite, pine bark mulch, coir, C-O-I-R, and this tag right here was the potting soil mix and garden soil. Now, when you asked me to do this, I got to thinking, I said, "Now, I'm a visual person.
Right.
I can talk, but let's do something." So I got my grandkids. We had a little plant party, what we call. I said, "We're gonna have a plant party." They like parties, so they didn't know what it really all about. But so we put this together right here.
So you put in all the different soils, each in a
all
different
the
pot.
different soils in each one of these pots, and put some grass seeds in here. This was done on June 10th.
Yes.
So this is about 3 weeks of growth of just grass. Now, actually, because, and I'll give you an example here. We're talking about aeration and just how hard the soil is. This goes in real easy. A screwdriver goes right in. This one pretty easy right here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the tag right here. This is leaf compost. Every one of them went pretty good. This one's a little tight right here. Oh, it's clay.
Oh, I'm surprised at that.
So that's clay has the fine particles, and clay really compacts easily. So you have to be very careful if your soil is just full of clay. So this was kind of tough right here. This one right here, my mother, if my mother's watching, she has a famous word she calls concoction. I took everything that I have on here and put it in this one right here and just said, let's see what happens with it.
It's doing better than the clay.
Yes, it's doing better than the clay right here.
Yeah. But let's go back to the clay, Harris, because I want people to see the ribboning effect, and we've got less than a minute to do so. So can I distract you to do our
yes,
other?
let's do this. Let me get this started right here. I got to do it as my little grandkids said, clean up. So let me see if I can clean this up a little bit over here.
That's perfect. And let's just bring our pot over, because I think people need to realize that clay has a lot of sand in it, but there's also different properties of clay. And if by putting some water in with it, you can really determine just the extent of that wonderful colloid called clay is in our soil. And it's a fun little easy experiment.
While I'm doing this, I will say this was taken out of an actual yard, and I'm not sure if the camera can actually see it, but rocks and clay, and you see how the grass is having a hard time germinating. This was taken out of a yard about 3 weeks ago, actual yard. And a close friend of mine, and I told him, I said, you're going to have a little problem here.
Let's just real quickly make a ribbon.
Oh, let's see if we can make a ribbon. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it that quick.
This is one way of determining the amount of true clay is in your soil, is making a ribbon. And it was a way that people who are, if you go buy a property, you can pick some up and just run it through your fingers. And if you make a ribbon, you've got pretty good stuff there.
Again, the most important thing in deciding on going into your garden center is deciding exactly what you want to grow and making sure you take time out to read the label and and then have some fun. You may have some failures.
Yep, you may. So
And
let's
so
try to
don't get-
ribbon it because we've run out
Out of time.
my friend.
You see, I'm having a little fun.
I
with
see
the
you're making a mud pie there. That's perfect.
This is
So-
what my grandkids love to do,
Yep. So,
and I'm trying to hurry up and make this ribbon here.
well, I think we can
and
get
a little
it
bit
close.
slow.
Yeah.
My grandkids probably would have had it done already.
Yeah.
Maybe I
But
should
the
have.
interesting thing is the fact
Maybe I
that
should have
as
brought
you're
them with
stirring
me.
it, you can actually see it starting to make a ribbon on the
Yes.
spatula.
Yes.
Because
yes,
it's actually starting to stick, and it's that
yes.
stickiness
Let me get
that
my
makes the
hands
ribbon.
all in this and have some fun.
We've got some paper towels for you, sir,
That's
so you can
okay.
get that hand in there. And you can start to see that there's a lot of sand in that clay, more than
Yes,
we realize.
yes. Let me
But
just
it's
take it out
that
here.
colloid that allows it to come together. And sir, we're going to have to wait and see because we've got to go. I want to thank you. I'm going to start talking while you make your ribbon, okay?
I'm having fun.
You are. Thank you, Harris. You know, you've always shed light on the differences in what is in the bag on the shelves in our garden centers, as well as what's in our soil. And this has been great information. I truly
Okay.
appreciate you coming and sharing and taking your time to share your knowledge and to learn a little.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm about to get it here. Here we go.
There we go. We're
We'll make that
done.
ribbon.